Hi friends, welcome to EduTap. So we are back with yet another live session for you guys. So in this particular live session, we are going to teach you actually for agriculture as a subject, what you need to find in the economic survey. Now, Economic Survey 2017-18 is a very huge document, right? So it really becomes impossible for us to understand as to what to read when it comes to agriculture. So what we are going to do is we are going to make it very, very simple for you guys. We are going to give you an orientation as to what exactly you need to study. Right? So kindly keep patience with the session and just note down the points that we are telling you. Now first, before we begin the survey, you need to understand that from the point of view of agriculture, what does economic survey actually contain? Now the first thing you need to make it very straight that economic survey in itself is not doing any research. Basically what economic survey does is it provides you a gist of all the important information, and that particular information is taken from various sources. Now, when we are talking about agriculture, so obviously they would have taken it from those sources that are very important for agriculture. Now, so here what we have done is we have made a list of all those sources that are very important for our agriculture as a subject. So let us see what are those sources that we are talking about. So here if you see, here the first source that we have mentioned is CSO, that is from the Ministry of Statistics, right? The second source is Annual Report 2017-18, which is of the Department of Agriculture, Cooperation and Farmers Welfare. Then National Sample Survey Organization reports. We have the Agriculture Census 2010-11. Input Survey 2011-12, which is from the Department of Agriculture and Cooperation. Then we have some of the data which is picked from ICAR, that is Indian Council of Agricultural Research. Now friends, from here you can take a hint that these are the various sources from which economic survey have taken important data and presented it to us. So automatically these sources becomes important for our examination. So EduTap has also covered these sources in detail for agriculture as a subject, right? So now let us come back to our economic survey. Basically what we are going to do here is we are going to see what we need to study as part of economic survey for specifically agriculture. I'm stressing on the word agriculture because this entire session is devoted as to that particular subject, right? So first, to make things very simpler, what we have done is the entire chapter, that is the chapter 7, this is related to agriculture in volume 2. So this particular chapter we have divided into 4 broad dimensions that you can see here, right? Now what are these dimensions? These are important facts and figures that you need to memorize. Then we have index, any survey, any rankings in which India has been placed at a particular rank. Then we come to scheme and then we come to concepts. Now what we are going to do is we are going to take each of these dimensions. Under this dimension, what are the important things that you need to study? We will be presenting it to you. Now friends, we have made things very simpler for you. So kindly have a keen watch and go ahead with the dimensions that I'm talking about. Now, so here we are seeing the important facts and figures. This is the first dimension that we are going to have a look at. Right? Now, under this, you need to memorize 10 particular facts and figures. Okay? So, if you're done with these 10 things, your job is done for agriculture subject. Right? So, here, the first thing that you need to memorize is regarding growth rates of agriculture and the allied sectors. Okay? The second thing, the gross capital formation. The third thing, share of agriculture and allied sectors in GVA. That is gross value added. Then about the production of crops. Then about the sources of farm income. We shall move ahead and see percentage of operational holdings owned by women. Then the percentage of operational holdings by education status. Irrigation related data. Data related to farm mechanization. and data related to food subsidies. Now, kindly don't get frightened by seeing these 10 big data that we have presented here. These are very simple. Basically, go to each one of them, memorize the important numbers that are required for our examination. Once you're done with these 10 things, revise them again and again, ample of time, so that you do not lose the retention, right? Okay, so here we shall see the first thing what you need to memorize. Here we have a tabular column. See, in this session, we are not going to teach you as to what are the concepts, how do you need to memorize these things. We are just telling you what are the things that are important, right? So first here, growth rates of agriculture and allied sectors. This particular tabular column, we have picked this from economic survey directly. So you need to concentrate on these latest figures that we have marked. So kindly go back and memorize these for the examination. Then coming to the second thing about the gross capital formation. Again, the recent numbers are very important for the examination. Now you need to memorize the trend as well. We see here that there's a decrease, and this decrease is due to a fall in private investment. So these things, kindly go back and have a look at it. Then the third thing that we are going to see is the share of agriculture and allied sectors in GVA. We can see this figure which is mentioned in the economic survey. We need to have a look at the share of crops and livestock. So kindly go back, realize this table. What are they meaning by the share of livestock in GVA is actually increasing, and the share of crops is decreasing. So these things need to be memorized for examination. Next, we come to the fourth part. It is the production of crops. Now, you can see here we have very clearly marked the data which is important for you. Don't get frightened by seeing this table, because there are so many numbers which are here. It might frighten you to the core. So don't get frightened. It is very simple. You just need to know the latest production in million tons, right? For example, let me just tell you that if you come to food grains, you need to memorize the total food grains in million tons, right? 275.68. Your job is done. You need to by heart these numbers. There's no other go. Next, we have come to the Kharif production. Again, this tabular column, just have a look at the percentage increase and decrease. It is going to be sufficient for you for the examination. Then coming to the sources of farm income. So here, this particular information is taken from National Sample Survey Organization, and we can see here the pie charts that have been given. So here, important point to note is a share decrease or increase. So just have a look at these two pie charts, see the comparison. So I have also written here the gist, the important points that are the takeaways from each of the following points that we are discussing. So kindly go back and have a look at these. Then we have come to the next thing, that is about the percentage of operational holdings owned by women. Right? Now, when you see this particular tabular column, don't just restrict yourself to the data that is given. You also need to understand that, link it to the concepts. Like here, by seeing this tabular column, you can see here they have given the criteria for the various operational land holdings. So you need to memorize these as well. Next, coming to the seventh point that we need to discuss, percentage of operational holdings by education status. So kindly see the classification that they have made and how literacy or illiteracy has an effect on the operational holdings owned by the farmers. Then we come to the irrigation related data. This is very important data. Kindly memorize the all India numbers as well as the specific state wise. You don't need to do it for all the states, but here if you see there are two states, that is Punjab and Uttar Pradesh, that have more than 50% of net irrigated area. So you need to memorize these important points rather than just mugging up all the states, right? Then you come to the next point, that is the data related to farm mechanization. Just have a look at it and just see how manpower is being replaced by mechanical power, right? That is a key takeaway here. So we have given you in boxes the important takeaways that you need to memorize. So we have basically made your job very simpler. Now the 10th point is regarding the subsidies. So here this much is the amount which is allocated for subsidies by the government. right? And the major amount of subsidies is spent on food subsidy. So this is an important MCQ. Kindly memorize this as well. There might be a question regarding maximum amount being spent on which kind of subsidy, right? Okay, so we are done with the important facts and figures, where we have seen 10 important points that you need to go back, memorize, take a minute or two for each of these and do your homework, right? Now we have come to the second dimension. The second dimension that we are talking about are the index and the surveys. So when we analyze this particular chapter, there are two important points that we come across, right? The first is the United States Geological Survey 2017, and the other is the Index of Crop Diversification. Now, when you come to this particular survey, what are the things that you need to memorize? You just need to know that India's rank, right? India ranks first, in fact. So this automatically becomes very important for us, right? So they have given an information which is related to 179.8 million hectares. That is 9.6% of the global net cropland area of India, or belongs to India, right? So here it is very important. Kindly memorize this. Next, we come to the index of crop diversification. Now, this is a very important snapshot that we have taken directly from the economic survey. The value of this index ranges from 0 to 1. And the higher the value, the greater is the diversification. So what you need to do is, for your examination, just have a look at this particular table. The All India value you need to memorize. And when you see here, the value of this crop diversification index is decreasing. So this is an important takeaway that you need to memorize for the examination. Now, what are the other things that you need to do? Kindly have a look at the value for various states that is given in the economic survey, and just note down those states that have their values increased, right? Now we have come to the third dimension. That is schemes and acts. Now friends, here this is an important section that I would like to discuss with you. Generally what happens is, whenever we have a look at the economic survey, we are of the opinion that in this document in itself is more than sufficient for us. But actually that is not the truth at all, right? What happens is, in an economic survey, they just give few names of the schemes mentioned here and there. They do not give us complete information about a particular scheme. Now what we need to do? We need to keep a tab on all those schemes that have been discussed as part of the economic survey. Then we need to pick that particular scheme and we need to do homework. We need to do a background. We usually call this as extrapolation, where we are seeing a scheme's name and we are going back and forth. What are the things that we need to memorize? EduTap also had conducted a session on how to approach schemes. So I would advise you to kindly go and have a look at that session, so that you get an idea as to, whenever you're doing a scheme, what are the important things that you need to cover as part of the examination, right? For example, you need to cover the launch date. Is there any schemes that are under it? Any sub-schemes are there, right? What is the important allocation made in the budget for that particular scheme, right? And what are the salient features of that particular scheme? Has that scheme been formed due to some mergers? Who are the eligible beneficiaries? What is the criteria for giving them such, whatever is the beneficiaries, right? What are the criteria for that? So those things you need to actually sit and note down for each and everything. EduTap will also bring to you a series, and we have already uploaded the schemes document and the videos regarding individual schemes. So you need to keep a tab on it, and you can see the various important points in each of these particular schemes, right? So we have noted down various schemes that are mentioned in this particular chapter in this section. Then there is one important point that you need to know about the policy for women farmers here, right? So this is a snapshot that we have taken from the economic survey, and kindly note one important information that you need to memorize, that 15th October every year from now would be celebrated as Women Farmers Day. So kindly keep this point in mind. Now we have come to the concepts part. So friends, whenever you are studying any document for that matter, now we are talking about Economic Survey 2017-18, Volume 2, Chapter 7, right? So just don't bluntly go with that document. You need to understand the concepts that are given there so that you actually are able to make some meaning out of it, right? You just cannot crunch the numbers in your mind, right? So when we read this particular chapter, there are these concepts that you need to know. Now the question comes, how are we actually going to cover these concepts for you, right? So what we are going to do is, we are running a series of 5 MCQs per day where we discuss 5 MCQs at length, right? So through those MCQs, we would make sure that these particular concepts get covered from our side. And the second thing, we had a live session where we had mentioned clearly about the various books that you need to refer for each of the topics which is mentioned in the agriculture section, right? For those who are doing self-study, we recommend that you kindly go through the books that we have mentioned. You would definitely be able to cover these concepts from those books. Right? So what are the concepts that you need to be aware about? What is GDPA, GVA? What are the various cropping seasons? What are the classification of operational land holdings? What do we mean by minimum support price, procurement price? What is meant by seed replacement rate, climate smart agriculture? What is gross cropped area, net cropped area, right? And so these are the things that you need to be thorough with. Only then you would be able to approach whatever question that comes your way. Now friends, now what we have done actually is, the entire survey we have divided into 4 dimensions. Under each of the dimension, we have actually told you what are the important things that you need to look out for, right? So now let us talk in a general way what you need to do whenever you are approaching any exam, and for that matter, you need to be thorough with the syllabus first. That is the key, the first step for you to begin your preparation. So again, for NABARD, the same thing goes here also. So before you start with your agriculture, kindly make a note that you're thorough with the syllabus. Right? Then moving on, have a look at the previous year questions and trends so that you get an orientation so as to what kind of questions are actually given in the examination. Right? Now, in this economic survey, we have given you the important and relevant information that is required for you to memorize. So kindly do that. Now, how are you going to memorize or practice these things? We have provided ample number of MCQs. Kindly go and solve those MCQs, and that is something which we refer to as reverse engineering, where you're seeing the MCQ, you're solving it, going towards the explanation, seeing the explanation and understanding what that information actually tells us. Right? So we have come out through, we are covering economic survey as well as budget through MCQs. So kindly solve those MCQs and give much amount of your time in the explanation part. That is the key to solve these kind of questions, right? Then the last part, but the very important part, is we need to revise as many times as possible. Only then you would be able to retain these things in your mind. Unless and until you revise this ample times, you would not be able to remember at the point of examination, right? So yes, if you have any queries, you can kindly mail us at deepak@edutap.co.in. Currently, we are running a flat 30% discount on the NABARD course, and kindly use the coupon code NABARD30. For those who have already subscribed our RBI Grade B 2018 course, for them we are giving a handsome 50% discount. So kindly drop us a mail regarding that. If you have any queries, kindly let us know. We are open to take it now. So friends, if there's any doubt that you would like to ask us, kindly put your doubts in the comment section. We shall answer them. Ashutosh, we are actually expecting the grade B notification. It should have been out by now, but right now even we are not sure about it. So we need to wait for it. The session is there, the session is over, but if you have any doubts specific that you need us to answer, we would be very happy to answer them. So kindly let us know even regarding to economic survey, like how to cover it. So you can ask those doubts as well. Yashwant, yes, our course is sufficient for NABARD Grade A. We have actually referred a multiple of sources and then we have come up with this course. So it is more than sufficient for you to refer our course. So we shall be waiting for 2-3 more minutes. So if you have any specific doubts, kindly post them so that we can interact regarding those queries of yours. You're welcome, Yashwant. Abhijit, basically, right now we have had this session. So the orientation which we want to give you is regarding how you need to approach this document. So basically, if you go and have a look at this chapter, there are so many things given, right? It is basically not possible for you to read line by line and cover those things. So what we have done is we have divided them into sections so that you can actually concentrate on the only important things that is needed to be memorized for the examination. So kindly watch this session that we have just conducted. So under that, just note down the important data and in fact make a note of it maybe on a paper so that you can memorize it whenever you want to revise for examination, right? And then the schemes that we were talking about, those schemes are very important. So you kindly make sure that you know each and every point regarding that scheme. So that is how you need to cover the economic survey. Ani, your question is, what all should we study in economic survey, volume 2, chapter 7, enough? Ani, actually for agriculture part, yes, the chapter 7 that we were discussing is actually more than enough because it encompasses of various information from other sources that we had actually mentioned at the start of the session, right? So we are actually sure enough that you need to just cover this particular chapter for agriculture. So I'm stressing on the fact that we are talking about agriculture here. Yes, Uma, our course is more than sufficient. We have included all the important sources for the examination and we have provided ample MCQs for you to solve. Manish, actually what we have done is for union budget also, we have prepared for agriculture and rural development separate MCQs. So when you go there and solve those MCQs, don't solve them like you're testing yourself. Don't test yourself there. Go and solve the MCQs and then see if you're able to understand what is given in that. Read the explanation again and again so that you're done with that particular question. Often the exact question will not be there in the exam, right? Only when you're thorough with the explanation, we can actually cover all the possible questions that are expected in our examination. Yes, Sushant, for India State of Forest report, we have given MCQs. Through those MCQs, you need to memorize that particular important data in that report, right? The same reverse engineering that we are talking about. So when you approach an MCQ, just see what are the background information given in the explanation. So you would cover a lot of questions when you're solving a single MCQ. So that is how you need to approach, Sushant, for India State of Forest report. And we are also running a series where each day we come up with a discussion of 5 MCQs. So we make sure that we add MCQs from various sources. Like we take MCQs from India State of Forest report. We frame them from NABARD's model bank table projects. So we are taking a number of sources to give you a variety of MCQs so that everything gets covered in a short span of time. You're welcome, Ani. Himanshu, there is actually an analysis which is there in the EduTap's YouTube channel, and that analysis is actually for the agriculture specific section of NABARD, right? So that analysis we have made in mind where we are comparing 2016 and 2017 exam. We all know that in 2016 the weightage was given more to current affairs part, right? And in 2017 more of technical questions were asked. So we have given the analysis there, and the bottom line that we have come to is that we need to be prepared for either ways. This time, either the exam can be solely on current affairs, it can be solely on agriculture questions, there can be a mix of both. So, right, so we need to be prepared for any kind of situation that comes our way. And for that, EduTap has actually provided all kind of material from static to current affairs. Yeah, Vibhuti, we are actually going to upload the fisheries part as well as the other animal husbandry unit also will be covered. So everything we assure you that we will be uploading them by 10th of April. So that is an assurance from our side that we would definitely include those units as well. If there's any question related to how do you need to approach MCQs, how do you need to take the important points from the explanation, you can also put forth such kind of queries. Vibhuti, kindly just drop us a mail at deepak@edutap.co.in. And if there are any other queries regarding your eligibility, regarding any other thing related to notifications, kindly drop us a mail. We would reply back to you. Ujjwal, actually 50 days is also very sufficient provided you are giving a right orientation. Because what happens is if you're not knowing the syllabus properly, if you don't know what kind of questions are coming in the examination, right? So you're basically just hunting in the dark. So that is not the right thing to do. 50 days is more than sufficient. You can actually make it provided you're reading the right material and you're dividing your time properly. So for any further guidance, you can just drop us a mail. We shall contact you. Ani, we had actually taken a session which was related to the book list, and we had mentioned for each and every topic what are the books that you need to refer, right? So you can actually watch that session. There's also a PDF where we have given you the list of books that are important for various other topics. So kindly go through them. Yes, Didesh, you can surely make it. Don't lose hope and just keep working hard. You're welcome, Ujjwal. Yes, Raksha, you can definitely apply for the general post. And for any other queries, we can in detail solve it. Kindly mail us to Deepak at Deepak at edutap.co.in. You're welcome, Sushant. You're welcome, Arun. Yeah, Himanshu, actually, yes, this was a query which we have been getting from the past few days. Yeah, we are definitely trying to increase the number of MCQs. For now, let us just restrict it to 5 because we don't want to discontinue or be irregular in our initiative. We want from our side to give you 5 MCQs every day without even missing a single day, right? So we would try our best that as we move on with the series, we would definitely put in our efforts and increase the number of MCQs. You're welcome, Didesh and Raksha. Yeah. Ashutosh, to be very frank, yes, ESI section has a lot of weightage given to current affairs part. So obviously the scheme, survey, budget, these are very important sources. And because of the time crunch, yes, you would need to spend much of your time regarding covering these sources. But don't neglect your static part completely because that is your foundation. Only when you're thorough with your static part, you can actually approach these documents, right? So keep a balance, give more weightage to current affairs, but I would again say that don't neglect static part. Sushant, the current affairs have already been updated for till February month. So you can access them at our website. Now, Abhijit, we provide you a separate current affairs module for ESI and ARD. So we have covered from December, Jan and Feb, and we shall be coming out with March, April till the time of the examination. So those are very comprehensive enough. We have highlighted each of the important news that has taken place in these sectors, right? So kindly revise those documents as many times as possible. Kalyani, actually, we have provided content sheets for each of the documents. So in our course, we have covered it through our concept videos, content sheet, summary sheet, and then MCQs for the static part. And if you're doing self-preparation, then as I told you that we had a session where we had mentioned the books very clearly for each and every micro topic. So you can actually refer those books for preparing your static part. You're welcome, Abhijit. So is there anything else you would like us to answer? Okay. You're welcome, Kalyani. Vibhuti, can you please make your query a bit clearer? Didesh, you just kindly drop us a mail. We shall help you out. We shall guide you through. Okay, so by now we are going to close the session. So kindly let us know if there's anything with which we can guide you through. So you can drop us a mail at deepak@edutap.co.in, or you can give us a call at 8146207241. So thank you so much, guys, and keep learning.